Hi, I'm the SolidWorks nerd, and today we're going to do something from the Shantae universe because the game came out just a week ago, and it's really good. So what we're going to do is this heart holder over here. So I think this one's going to be a little bit challenging because we're going to have to bring something in a 2D sprite form into a 3D, more smooth environment form. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's go to part file. Okay, so I think how I'm going to do this is going to kind of go off a sketch picture. So I'm going to put a sketch in the front plane. And I have sketch picture over here, but if you don't have it, you can search for it in commands. And here's our picture. We can set a transparency. I think that'll be very auspicious to what we're doing, so we don't have that annoying background to work around. We can set the overall height. Let's do that. Alright, so I guess I have to position it first, so I'll do that. So put that right there. Should probably have scaled it first. Let's make this like 6 inches or something like that. So from here to here, 6. There we go. I'll put the origin right at the bottom of the heart. It doesn't really matter, it's up to you. And now let's go set some transparency. And there we go. Beautiful. And then what I like to do with sketch pictures is I don't like to draw geometry on sketch pictures. That way, if I need to hide the picture but keep the geometry, I have the option to do that. So we're going to exit the sketch and start a new sketch right on the top plane. Sketch. And there we go. So now we can begin to trace. I'm going to start with this inner heart and this kind of a ring around it. So I'm definitely going to put some roundness to the heart, probably as a fillet of some kind. But here we go. And you can do the trick if you want to get arc from a straight line. You come out, come back to the point, and you'll produce a tangent arc. Also probably gonna go for a mirror too, so let's do that. Make that vertical, and I want to snap that to the origin. There we go. And I may spend just a moment here just getting things fully defined and looking nice. This will make the arc a little bit easier to control. So now we have the tangency right there. And this is when it'll become useful to hide. And now we can easily check the geometry we've drawn. So there's going to be our initial heart, but now we need to mirror it. So you can do the old trick. Select geometry and select one center line, and you can just hit mirror entities and it'll know what you're talking about. And that's looking pretty good. So I'll actually just leave it like that. Actually, perhaps I'm gonna define this as an offset. So we're gonna do some multiple contours. So we'll do that. Get into that and offset entities. And we want that. Alright, it picks the chain. And let's expand that out. And that looks just fine actually. Just right there. There we go, I like it. So we're gonna do this center part as a basic extrude, and these handles will probably be swept after I mirror this over. Alright, so let's try that. Actually, what I'll probably do, let's do the extrude. We'll hit that. And let's extrude that out some distance. Let's try 2, but I'm actually going to go for a mid-plane. So it'll do both of those at the same time. So there's one. And then we can open up the same sketch again. Yeah, and that is not the thing that I want. So go to contours, delete that. We're gonna go for that. Let's try 3, but then mid-plane. Oops. If that happens, just hit that to bring it back to the center of your screen. And that looks pretty good. Alright, so let's leave it like that. And now let's we can solve how some of the roundness is gonna go. So fillets. It's gonna be a special fillet. So there's that, and then we're gonna make the fillet quite large. And instead of circular, we can do curvature continuous to make it look a little more natural. But I seem to be having a little bit of issues getting it to solve out. Alrighty then, so looks like the fillets aren't working, but I have a way that we can do this with surfaces. And I am about to try that right now. So since I don't want to do surface work twice, I'm probably going to split this and only do 1/2 and then mirror and then combine it back. So let's go ahead and do that. You can hit split. I'm going to split about the front plane, cut part. Let's click the back half and have it consume that. So now we're going to work on this half, making it look all nice and pretty. So what we're going to do, let's go sketch on that plane. And we're going to go for another offset entities. But instead of offsetting towards the outside, we're going to do it towards the inside. Alright, even that's having a little bit of issues. So I'm going to manually draw it. Offset. Just like that. And so this will help me get started. So I'm going to make a planar surface of the part that's not going to be curved, and then I'm going to create some surfaces that will create the boundary between these two guys. So I'm going to start like this because I do want it quite curvy. So there's some initial geometry. So let's get 3-point arc. So let's get a spline because I can see why the tool's failing. There we go, something like that, and then perhaps take that, make it vertical. 5. Actually, I may take this point off. Tell this guy to back off just a little bit, and then I'm probably going to mirror this. So I just want to mirror this piece of geometry because I already have one on the other side. There we go. Something like that. And now let's start with our surface work. So we're going to get our delete face over here. I'm going to delete this face and these edge ones. Delete. There we go. And then we can take our planar surface and pick that guy. And now the goal is to create surfaces that will very neatly combine these two profiles. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's do a sketch on this. That way we can convert these entities over here. And the advantage of doing it in a sketch versus just picking the edge is that you can have an extra constraint that that is normal to profile, which is what I want. So it needs to know the sketch plane. Select tangency, convert entities. There we go. So let's start with our boundary surface tool. And so we have our sketch 4. Alright, that'll be fine. Gonna get the selection manager and select that loop. See, our profile's just a little bit twisted, but you can fix that by bringing this guy right over here. And this is where the magic happens. Get the tangency, and then this will be normal to profile. There we go, normal to profile, and now that's looking way better. I like that. I wonder how curvature looks. Okay, a lot of the times curvature doesn't yield very good results. I think this looks a little smoother. Yeah, but there you go. Now what we can do is get our surfaces together. This and this. We can create solid, and our gaps are closable. And there we have it. That's looking way better. So now what we can do is let's get a fillet on this. Hopefully it'll solve out a little bit better. I think it has a better chance of succeeding because it's not as curvaceous as this inner heart over here. But we shall see. And doesn't that look beautiful? I like it. And of course that solves out just fine. So now what we can do is get a mirror. That'll be under here, mirror. And our mirror face plane. I could pick this back face, but just for robustness, I'll pick an elementary plane, just like that. And instead of features, we can do bodies. I'm gonna merge solids together. And there we go. We have our main part done. So what I'm going to work on now is the handles, which eventually is going to be sweep into mirror, and I will probably put it as a separate body and mirror the bodies and then combine them. Try and mirror features. A lot of wonky stuff happens, especially when you pair it with surfaces. So let's just start a sketch on the front plane. Let's get a spline, and we need to overbuild this, so just make it close. That's not close, but we can fix that with drag handles. And yeah, that's way too many points, so let's delete this guy. Bring that guy over here, a little more over there. Splines take a little practice to work with. Ooh, why are you? Very, very happy to see everyone. There we go. And probably just a little bit of angle there. Getting closer. And then I can also show you the neat feature in 2016 with splines. So you get it how you like it. Little more. There we go. Alright, so we have that. I'm just gonna leave it like that. And we can go straight into the swept boss base. And in 2016, you can pick a profile and automatically have a circular profile attached to that. So there we go, even though it's looking a little too big. That's a little better. So we'll have that, but we also, I don't want to merge result. So now we have that, and that is sticking out in the end a little bit. So what I'm going to do is edit that spline and bring that back into there a little bit and compensate for it. There you go. Now it's merging just nicely. Now we're going to go for our mirror. Our mirror face and plane will be our right plane. Bodies to mirror will be that guy. And perhaps we can merge solids. Let's see. Okay, failed. That is totally fine. So we have that. Let's see, we can just go combine it. Just add these three guys together. There we go. It's totally fine. And then we can hide this sketch to see our handiwork. It's looking pretty cool. So I'm gonna unhide that. So I'm gonna work on this top bit over here. I'm not really sure what it is, to be honest, but it's going on there. So I'm thinking revolve. Let's grab the origin and go straight up, just like that. Bring that down just a bit. And I'm just probably gonna trace this with analytical geometry. So there, into an arc. There we go. Into that and that, and I'm probably going to overbuild this so we can merge it just easily. And we may have to scale this to make sure it fits within the thickness of what we gave it. Yep. Alright, so now let's do some minor adjustments. Hey, it's looking pretty good. I'll put a few dimensions. Can exit our sketch and go straight into the, not the extrude, but the revolve. Meant to click that. Revolve. And there we go. So looks like we're gonna have to make some adjustments in terms of scaling. So I'm gonna uncheck merge result and let this happen. And we need to squish this down in the Z direction. So I'll go ahead and do that. And that's under mold tools, scale. I'm gonna scale that guy. Non-uniform, and our Z, let's try 0.75. It's gonna be a little bit trial and error. Hey, that looks kind of good though. I like it. Alright, so I'm gonna leave it like that, and I'm gonna go for another combine. I like to combine as I go along just to make sure. Sometimes the combine feature fails, and it'll be a lot easier to catch where that happens if you're just kind of going along than having a whole bunch of bodies and then trying to combine them. It often is a little hectic to try and figure out what went wrong. So for these little feet, those are going to be interesting. So probably going to take some artistic liberties with it, but it looks like there's a little leg that goes like this, and there's probably 4 of them that is patterned around. Probably need some scaling too. Yeah, that's always a tough part about these things. So yeah, let's just get sketching on the top plane. I'll probably just make it an extrude and then do a circular pattern. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So front plane, there we go. And there, let's try extruding that and see what that does. So I'm probably gonna make this like the same deal as this. I'm gonna make this blue part thicker than this part. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go for an extrude. Select the contours, that, but instead of 3, let's make that like 1, and then mid-plane that. Or even less. I'm probably gonna like try and merge this cleanly into this side over here. So that looks like the perfect thickness, and I'm not gonna merge result. So with that very same sketch, we can go straight into another extrude, and oops. That guy. Okay, so I guess it doesn't count this as a close profile, this little peninsula kind of deal. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start a new sketch. put it right on the front plane again. And I'm just going to convert these entities. Being a little finicky. There we go. So you want to make this a little bit easier. We hid this. There you go. Show that, and this. Let's convert. And then we can just trim off this little excess bit. And there we go. Now we can do our extrude. And I'll probably make this a little bit thinner, as well as mid-plane, just like that. Merge result. Hopefully it doesn't merge everything together, but it did. To go back, uncheck that. Yeah, and I don't like that sharp corner very much. I'm going to put a rather small fillet on that. Okay, that is not rather small. So circular. Down just like that. Something like that. There you go. And actually, instead of circular patterning this, let's go for a mirror first, and then we'll think about what we can do for the front leg. Probably we'll put like a smaller leg coming out of here instead. I think that would be a better option. But for now, let's go ahead, complete our mirror. We'll use the right plane, do that and that. Just like that. So we're almost there. It's coming out. So we can go ahead, let's just combine all of these just to make sure there's nothing wonky with this. Alright. Hide that away. There we go. Let's see what our sketch picture is again. Show. And actually I'm gonna hide this whole body just so we can look. Okay, so it's like a leg. Okay, so it's like two sets of legs. So there's one, and then this stems straight from the gold part going to the front. Got it. Alright. So let's unhide our body, and we'll do just that. We're gonna go to the right plane, and probably with a spline, just make a small, and just to make sure it sits flat, because our imaginary item must sit flat. There we go. We'll make that coincident. Go something like that. And then another spline. Just taking a little bit of artistic liberty here. Do that. There we go. Something like that. There we go. I like that. So let's go ahead, get out of the sketch. Let's go extrude this. I think that'll be just fine. We may have to overbuild this more actually. So mid plane. Oh no, it looks like it's merging just fine. Merge result. Sure. It may give me, you know what? I'm gonna unmerge that. I think it's gonna give me issues if I try and pattern this. And also I want to fillet this too. So yeah, let's get some fillets. Round some stuff off. And I'll do that on the other legs too. And leave it like that. Alright, so let's go ahead and mirror this yet again. And mirror about the front, bodies to mirror this thing. There we go. Combine that, and that. Merges just fine. Now I want to see if I can try and put a small fillet on that. Okay, so let's make that a little smaller before we continue. We have tangent propagation on. I'm going to do select loop. That's not the loop I want, nor is that one. Okay, so let's just clear our selections. That going to that. Okay, and that breaks it a little bit. There we go. It's kind of strange. You just have to pick the right combinations of entities. So we have that. It looks pretty good. Oops, not that. That going into here, and then I'll come back when I click this. We're over here, going to this, and finally this edge. There we go. We'll complete that fillet, and let's put a couple of fillets on this just so it makes it a little cleaner. Right, okay. Make it like that. Items to fillet. Okay, we'll leave it like that. Put it like that. Alright, so I may do kind of one feature at a time. So there's that. My fillet is a very interesting tool. Sometimes it likes to act up if you give it a little bit too much to do, so whenever that happens, just try and split up the work a little bit. It may slow down rebuild times, but that's totally fine. And you see now it's solving out just fine. There we go. I like it. And actually with that one I should have done the other side, so we'll get back into there. Just like that. That, that. And there we go. Actually, last thing I want to do is see if I can get a fillet on this perimeter over here. Let's go for that. Alright, that solves just nicely. Alright. Awesome, and if you'll give me just a second, I'll color it in. And now the coloring is done, and let's just hide out that sketch picture. And there we have it. There's a heart holder. See how it looks in real view. Ooh, so shiny. Well, that's it from the SolidWorks nerd. Have a good day.